Hi everybody, welcome back to day 5 of Lunch and Learn. We are working on our dragon eye today. So we started to draw it and paint it earlier this week. Remember that you can go back and see the videos, or you can go on my YouTube channel, which is Maureen Marks Art, and you can find these videos, and you can find the previous Lunch and Learns and some other videos that I made. If you have colored pencils or markers, you can use those today to add some accents, or you can just continue to use the paint. So I think I'm gonna pick up a smaller brush. So it's nice on the large areas to kind of have a shadow side. It really makes it look dimensional. So I'm gonna show you first with paint, and then in some other areas I'll show you how you can do the colored pencil. So I'm gonna do in between for these shadows, because usually when things overlap like that, you can kind of see here, there's a shadow right in between in this area right here where they overlap. So that's where the shadow would naturally be. So a shadow is a color that is a slightly darker version than the original. So because I don't really have a dark yellow, I'm going to use a dark orangey color. So I'm putting a little bit in on all of these rows first. And then I'm gonna go in and take a little bit of water to kind of blend it out so that it doesn't look like a stripe that's sitting on top of it. A shadow is not a stripe. A shadow is a faded out area. So I'm gonna rinse my brush, wipe a little bit of water off, and then just kind of take the edge with some water and just kind of go right along the edge and kind of wiggle it out and blend it so it's not perfectly straight. Kind of wiggle, 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 a little bit more water. Not soaking wet. You can see that I'm not creating oceans of color. I'm just using a little bit in a controlled way to pull that color out so it's not too flat looking. So I could repeat that on the other side, but I want to show you how to use colored pencils if you want. So you could use colored pencils if you wanted to add more shading, but these are also great for these smaller areas. So where I have these, I call these the pebbles, the patterns, I can just color right over. That one's not showing up too well. Let's see, is it too damp? I didn't let mine dry overnight. I'm just recording my videos back to back. Let me try a marker instead. There we go. So I'm gonna do a bunch of pink ones, but then I think I'll come back later and add some other colors. So you can see that if I'm using a color that's similar to it, I have a pink background and then a dark pink marker. Look how nicely it shows up. If I tried to do yellow over this pink, it may not work so well. And that goes for colored pencil, and it also goes for marker. It's really hard to color light colors over a dark surface. I'm sure you probably already knew that, but sometimes we just have to be reminded, because everybody forgets things every now and then, don't they? Nobody's perfect. So I could come back in. I think purple would probably, yep, purple looks great too. So I could continue and I could just color these in, but you probably don't want to watch me color in all these circles, even though I love doing this. I could just color for hours. I find it super relaxing. Let me see if I can try a colored pencil in the yellow area that will show up. I'm going to try a green. So in the outs, in the inside, I think. It's still a little damp. Let me try this side. That's still a little damp too. It's coloring it a little bit there. There we go. That one's drier. So my paper is just too damp right now to try this colored pencil technique, but I'm going to show you this up close because it did change it slightly. So marker or colored pencil. Colored pencil, obviously, it's going to be a much subtler or softer approach, but you can see it did shade in those inside circles slightly green. One more fun thing that you can do with the markers. Remember I said that if you didn't have watercolors that you could use markers to turn them into paint. So I'm just going to put a little bit of green just along one edge because I want to kind of create a little bit of a shadow on just that one edge. And I would do this all the way around. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of water, and I'm just gonna put water over that marker. And I'll do a few more, and then you can kind of see the difference. Do a large one so you can really see. So if you look, you can see how these are kind of soft and blended, and these are still just the stripe. So it's turning it into paint. I'll do just a couple more to kind of blend these out. So that's a really fun technique to use, is to use your marker for either shading or to color it in. And you can see the difference on the areas that aren't shaded in over here and these areas. It really does make it look more 3D or dimensional. And that's kind of our end goal. So I'll show you on my finished one how I did go in and I shaded in all of my scales, and I colored in all my pebbles, and then I did a little bit of shading on this scale. And those are really the only, oh, and I colored in the inside of my triangles. Those are the only areas that I really touched up. The eyeball remained exactly the same that it was. I'm gonna leave my eyeball exactly the same as it is and just continue to build up the shading on these. I hope you liked the Lunch and Learn videos. Be sure to give it a little bit of a like if you can. It helps to kind of sprinkle it around Facebook so that everybody gets to see these videos and gets to create and make something that they can really be proud of. So thanks again for tuning in all week. Take care, everybody.